the top 3 books or podcasts that you guys listen to or have read that have changed your life.
Top 3 books, man. Very first book I read when I went down my whole therapy journey. I kind of got pushed into therapy because I was trying to save my first marriage, which I wasn't able to save. But this was my first experience in self-improvement because I decided to stay in therapy because the guy was good. And I was like, I need to dive into this personal growth stuff. He recommended 2 books to me, and these were the first 2 books I ever really fully read. I didn't read books in high school. I always did the bare minimum of my book reports, So I was like, but my desire was so strong to change who I was, to not be like an angry person in this world, and to actually have better relationships and be successful at my next relationship. And so I read a book called Buddha's Brain, which taught me a lot about how the mind works and how to really control the subconscious the best that you can, right? And it's ever evolving. There's like really no end to controlling your subconscious mind. I mean, you just have to work at it, practice it. It's like endless, right? The other book that I read was 7 Principles on How to Make Marriage Work by John Gottman. And like, dude, that I learned so much just about relationships, which has carried over not in just marriages and relationships like on a husband and wife level, but relationships just in business with employees. Like there's so much you can learn from books like that. So I'd say I really gravitate towards leadership books now too. I already just barely mentioned Jocko. I loved his book, Dichotomy of Leadership. Extreme Ownership's a really good one as well. And then John Maxwell's like leadership books. But I would say I enjoyed, out of those leadership books, the Dichotomy of Leadership the most, just because of the war stories and how they correlate with business and life. I really, really enjoyed that one. I'd say that's my best leadership book. 7 Principles on How to Make Marriage Work was a great relationship book. And Buddha's Brain was my very first like personal growth mental book. But I've gone on to read other ones that I really like too. But those ones are my favorite because they were like the first, right?
Mm-hmm. I would say the first book that I read when I picked up a book again was The Untethered Soul. And it talks about your mind and how your mind is basically your roommate. You have to live with your mind, and sometimes your mind isn't the best roommate, right? It tells you that you're not good enough or that you can't do something, and it's constantly, trying to find the easy way out. These are things that aren't going to be conducive to a successful life, right? And so it talks about the untethered soul, about the roommate that you have to live with. And if that was an actual human being, you probably wouldn't want to live with it, right? Because you're not necessarily in control of it, and it's always talking negatively about yourself. For whatever reason, one of the first things we do when we look at a picture, we look at ourselves and we're like, oh, I'm halfway blinking, or I don't like my smile, or whatever. We're picking ourselves apart, right? And that's what your brain does. It constantly picks you apart. And I think that that's where a lot of people fail, is they don't ever try to get control of that roommate, or in other words, their mind, so that it can be an assistance in life rather than something that's hindering you in life. So Untethered Soul is a good book in regards to the brain. Extreme Ownership is a great book in terms of just talking about whatever the situation is, whatever happened, always look inside and figure out how you could have prevented the situation, even if it's not your fault. Mm-hmm. What could you have done to change that outcome? Could you have communicated better? Could you have done something different that could have changed the outcome of what happened? And so Extreme Ownership is really good. And How to Win Friends and Influence People is a really good book. That's just a good book for life and business in general, because it does talk about how to communicate with people better and speak in a way that's conducive to get the result that you're wanting out of that conversation, or a result that you're wanting out of that employee or person or whatever the situation is. Podcast wise, I keep it pretty thin. Listen to Ed Milet's podcast and Andy Frisella's podcast. And then Real Business Owners, of course.
I didn't mention the podcast, man. I've been bouncing around trying to find some new ones, and dude, those are Andy just speaks to me, bro.
Yeah, you just go back to the old trusty,
love that, dude. But, dude, what's his name that was on our podcast? I learn a lot from his stuff, too. David Meltzer. I actually do pop in and listen to his sometimes as well. And he's like, he just has a good way of like spinning on he puts a spin on certain things. I'm like, that's really good.
Kale, when's your book coming out? Do you know?
I have 17 chapters in my book, and I probably have 8 of them I could submit to editing right now.
Okay.
And I've done a lot of my own self-critiquing and had my own a lot of my own little moments of like just fear of criticism and stupid shit. So my whole new approach is just get it done, get it out, and then I'll take care of like the things I want to change into the editing process. So
Should be out by midsummer, you think, right?
yeah, it's been. I wanted it out before end of last year, and it just didn't happen. So I want to get it out. I want to get it out the first half of the year. So I don't know how long the editing process is going to take.
That's true.
I've literally started over probably 3 different times on this book. So, but there's a lot of good stuff I want to get out. I know it's going to help people, and I know it's going to help elevate me. So it'll happen. It's going to be done. It'll be done this year. I would say, like you said, midsummer, halfway through the year would be really awesome for me. So.
Is it an autobiography, or you just?
No, well, so dude, it's kind of, I mean, it is a little bit. It's a lot of my stories, right, and the journey I've been on. It's helped me in changing who I am as a person mentally, the things that I learned, and then how those all help me in business. So, really, I mean, dude, everyone's looking for the shortcut in business, right? The shortcut is you, man. Like, work on you. Like, the hard road usually is the shortcut, right? And so a lot of it's like, dude, when I figured that out, and it wasn't on purpose, the things that I learned in my therapy and my personal growth journeys is what's given me the tools to actually elevate and level up in business as well. And so it's so the first half of the book is how I reprogrammed who I was. Second half of the book is how it helped me in all the areas of sales, networking, business partnerships, how it helped me in building culture within our company, how it's all those things that it's helped me in, how those things that I've gained personally have helped me in those things as well, which is taking the business to the next level. So it's kind of like a growth/business tactical book.
What is the biggest thing you've learned from your entrepreneurship groups that you guys have joined?
That relationships are everything. That literally you could be one relationship away from a new business opportunity. You know, we've started several new businesses or had several new investments just based upon investing into entrepreneurship groups and meeting different people. The cool thing about entrepreneurship groups is everybody's there for one thing, and that's for personal growth and financial growth, and that's it. You know, that's the reason why they're there. That's why they're investing the money. So if they're there for the personal growth, the group will take care of the personal growth, but the financial growth comes from the network of people in that group. They're going to network with each other and figure out, you know, if there's any, you know, things that, you know, synchronize with each other, with your business model, my business model. We could refer clients to each other or customers to each other, or even helping in marketing. You know, if you're struggling in marketing, hey, you know, here's this guy that's great at marketing. He can come in and take a look at things and give you pointers at no cost in some cases. In some cases, if you want to retain them, then you could spend money. But yeah, we've done business with a lot of people in these network groups. So we're learning and growing individually as human beings, as entrepreneurs, but also we're growing financially based upon some of the relationships that we're creating in the group, because that's everybody's goal, is to grow personally and financially. So
dude, it's so overplayed in the success space about like you are the, you know,
top 5 people you hang out with,
like,
your network is your net
yourself,
worth,
all
and,
this stuff.
you know.
But it is true.
Yeah,
It is like, but people won't understand it until they actually do it.
Yeah.
Like I get annoyed hearing it too. Like when I hear like the new up and coming success guy, whatever, like say, oh, you need to surround yourself with better people. Like sometimes it does get annoying because you hear it so much, but people don't actually do it.
Yeah.
Right? You actually want to
Yeah.
do it, like pay the fee to actually be around the people that are at the level that you want to be with, and it's kind of magical in the way that it does happen.
Yeah.
And yeah, your network is everything. It is everything, man. And like, your employees are part of your network. Your people that you're reaching out to do business with. You want to do business at a higher level, like surround yourself with a higher level type of people in these groups. And so it's been huge for us, man. And it's annoying to hear it over and over and over again, but until you just do it, you're not going to understand it.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that's That's what I've learned.
I
It's
think,
like, oh, I've actually done it now. Like, I've
Yeah.
been a part of all these 7, 8, and 9-figure business owners, and you get to know them on a personal level, and it's like, dude, they're human just like I am, and like they've done some awesome shit just by having a little bit better discipline or a little bit more, just patience or aggressiveness in areas. Like, you pick up on these things and then you adopt those things. And until you just do it, you're just not going to understand it.
I think it's just on repeat because of how important it is, right?
Yeah.
So then when it's on repeat, it becomes cliche, right?
Yeah.
Where people just don't want to hear it anymore. But I would say whatever, 80, 90, 95% of people aren't really actually putting it into action.
Mm-hmm. They're not going to let go of $30,000 to be a part of something because they don't know what the ROI is going to be. But
that's because the average person's looking for certainty. They don't spend money unless they're certain with something. They don't ever travel into uncertain waters and just know that, yes, investing into myself is a good thing no matter what. Mm-hmm. Even if I don't pull any business from this group, investing into yourself is never a bad investment. Mm-hmm. Now, creating additional people inside your network where you can make more money with, that's also another a pro in terms of joining a group. The con is having to invest the money. Nobody wants to invest money and part with money, but you got to pay to play.
I still struggle with it.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, I literally on this last investors one, I was like, man, I could take 30 G's and throw it in an investment.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And then I was like, but there's just so much investments I probably don't know about. Now we're learning about all these cool ass investments that are going to be a huge return on that $30,000 investment.
I know you guys do 75 hard. What's your favorite exercise?
I liked my walks and runs with my weighted vest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I can be like on a podcast while I'm doing it, and I can just be like kind of in a different zone than I'm at the gym. People trying to talk to me or whatever. So I like being by myself in those moments. So like my weighted vest walks and runs were some of my favorite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say the outdoor was my favorite because when I'd get home from work, you kind of carry that day's stress with you home. That's just the way that life works, right? Mm-hmm. If you had a bad day at work, you carry it home. That's just the truth. But when you go home and you have to go do an outdoor workout, it gives you 45 minutes of headspace, free and clear. You can dump that stress out on the outdoor workout. And you get to come back into your home with a different mindset, right? Not coming directly from work right into the house, carrying those same stresses with you. And a lot of moments of clarity, a lot of great quotes and thoughts came when I was by myself, doing an outdoor workout. So I would say mentally and physically, the outdoor workouts, help on both sides.